Tom's Video is really known for, they were a gay porno store, basically. That's what they had there. But they also had an amazing horror section, and don't ask me how I found out they had an amazing horror section. But I did, and it was great, and it was really cheap, and they had tons of rare movies and all kinds of new stuff. It was great. It was the only place I could go to find a copy of Fred Olen Ray's Scalps, which I really, really loved, and movies like Men's Room 2, like 2 shelves over. Interesting place. So one Friday night, I walked into Tom's Video, and I saw this movie called Effects on the shelf, and it had just come out on DVD. And I had no idea what it was. It just looked kind of cool because it had mentioned snuff movies on it, and I saw Tom Savini's name on it, so I thought, you know what, I just recently watched this movie called The Ripper, and it was an amazing, incredibly, enjoyably fun movie, and if it's half as much fun as that with Tom Savini, I'm going to be very happy. So I rented the movie, and not only was it half as much fun as The Ripper, but it was completely beyond my expectations and what I was expecting in the movie. And it was something else completely, something that rarely happens to me when I watch a movie, is that it really scared me. It made me afraid, because this movie attacked my sense of trust. The same way that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Blair Witch Project came before, this like building block of horror, like this thing that, like, what's the most important thing to us as humans between each other? It's trust. So it attacked that, and it made me feel really off kilter, and it like adjusted my perception of reality and what is real and what isn't. And I thought it was amazing. I thought this movie was so good. And I had never heard of it. I'm like, why hasn't anybody heard of this movie? So the reason why is because back in Pittsburgh in 1978, there was this movie made called Dawn of the Dead. And you guys should probably clap for Dawn of the Dead. So that movie was made for $55 million, approximately. But around the same time in Pittsburgh, by the same group of friends, give or take, there was a movie called Effects made for $50,000. And the thing is that Dawn of the Dead, from the same era, basically changed the face of horror history forever, and Effects didn't. But I love both of those movies equally as much, and I basically kind of just want to tell you why, and then we're going to celebrate this movie. Is that okay with you guys? So basically, I was reading this biography of Oliver Hardy, who was one half of Laurel and Hardy last week. And there's this amazing quote about Laurel and Hardy. It's kind of like speaks to why I love them so much. And the author said that he was describing like the appeal of Laurel and Hardy and what it is about them that's great. And he said, battered, resigned, yet impeccable in their dignity, beaten but indestructible. And that basically means is that Laurel and Hardy like had the world against them, and they always got up. They always got back up to fight and make us happy. And to me, that exact quote could be applied to the movie Effects, because this was a movie that really the world wasn't ready for when it was made in 1980 and released. But it survived. Like no one knew about this movie. It was kind of like semi-released and not, and it kind of came out but didn't, and then it was just kind of lost and buried to the sands of obscurity. But the thing is the movie survived and it got out there. And I feel like, you know, the world just wasn't ready for what it was doing. It was too ambitious for its time. And now, obviously, we all get it now, and it's here, and it's a wonderful thing. And when you look back on who was involved in this movie, you're kind of like blown away that it kind of makes sense that it's so good, but why people weren't ready for it. You have John Harrison, who produced and starred in this movie as Lacey. Right now, John Harrison is Lacey, one of the ultimate scumbags in movie history on the screen. Incredible performance. And of course, John went on to do the score for Creepshow and Day of the Dead and directed Tales from the Dark Side of the movie. Incredible career. We have Dusty Nelson, who directed and wrote this movie. Incredible what he pulled off for the amount of money that he had in directing this movie. And he went on to make movies like Sakura Killer's White Phantom and Necromancer, which are incredible VHS parodies of He got some of these items in the movie. It was great. And Pasquale Buga, who edited the movie and produced it. And his wife, Zilla Clinton, I mean, between the two of them, there's so many movies here that we know and love that they basically made happen in Pittsburgh at the time. And there's somebody else named Tom Savini, you guys probably know. So, there's a ton of talent going into this thing, so you can see why it is so good and why it just took time for the rest of the world to understand what was going on in this movie. And it's proof here, like 180 people here to see this movie, to appreciate it for the right reasons, and that's incredible. And the reason why it's here and why we're doing this tonight is because of the American Genre Film Archive here in Austin, Texas. So we screened, anybody here for the screening of Effects like 2 years ago? So the time we screened that movie, and we didn't know that it was the only print in existence of the movie, but we later found out because the producer, John Harrison, contacted us and said, hey, I saw you played my movie, and I was really scared because it was Lacey from this movie, which is scary enough, but I was worried because I couldn't find them, and I was worried they were like, we're going to sue you guys for playing this movie. And I was like, oh my God, like, what can we do, what can we do? And we got to talking, and then I asked them, you know, we're starting this new thing with AGFA, we're starting a new home distribution and theatrical label. What are you guys doing with effects? Would you be interested in talking about, you know, putting it out? And they said yes. And because of that screening, all of this is happening tonight. And I think it's one of the amazing things about the Alamo Drafthouse is this crazy thing can get in the air and happen, and people can find out about it. And then something equally as amazing and positive can come out of it. So what you're going to watch tonight is our Blu-ray is out today. This is like the release party for the Blu-ray. So you're going to be watching a new 4K transfer of this movie Effects from our only existing print in existence. The negative of the movie is lost, and then the elements that John, the producer, had has been damaged and is unplayable. So this is all we've got. And the great thing about it is that when we do a 4K transfer at AGFA and release it, we want to retain the power of film. We want it to come across, we want to feel it in our souls, that it looks like film and it's there. We don't add anything to it, we don't take it away, we just make it bloom, make it shine. And so I wanted to give you a heads up about this. This print is like the only one in the world that was shot in 16mm, blown up to 35, and I love the way this looks. It has so much integrity and passion behind it, and it just looks like it's been watched and it's been loved. And that's what we want at AGFA. Every Blu-ray release we do, we want that to be retained in it. So I wanted to give you a heads up about that, because this movie was really made by love with a lot of friends, and the reason we're here tonight is because we love this movie and we want more people to see it. So it's really great how that worked out. Now, one last thing I want to say to you guys is the expectations about this movie. If you've never seen this movie, you know, you look at the lineup, you look at who's in it, and you think this is going to be an action-packed, gore-soaked slasher. It's going to be a romp, and it's not. So I want to lower your expectations from that and throw that out the window, because that's not what you're going to watch tonight. But what it is an incredibly smart and terrifying horror movie that's basically a statement on horror itself and why we watch it, why it affects us, and it's incredibly intelligent, way ahead of its time. And that's really why you watch this movie. Plus, there's a ton of amazing cocaine scenes in it. It's always fantastic. If you are recently recovering from cocaine, I think you're going to fall right back off the wagon tonight, because they make it look so good. The other great thing about it, you're going to notice, is Tom Savini has the greatest rainbow hat in this movie. It makes me so happy when I see it. It's just fantastic. So with that said, I don't know if you guys know this, we have some guests in the house tonight to watch this screening effect. So before you clap, we're going to save your clap. First I want to introduce everyone, bring them up, and then I'm going to let you guys go nuts and give them a proper amount of applause. So we're going to bring up writer, director Dusty Nelson. We're going to bring up producer, star John Harrison. And we're going to bring up Mr. Tom Savini right now. So now, go crazy!
Actually, we did not shoot on for 55 million.
How much did you shoot it for?
Are you kidding?
Like 750,000. It made 55.
Okay, well, the internet.
Can't trust it's fake news. The internet.
And I would like to personally apologize to anybody who has seen The Ripper.
No! No! It's so good!
The worst movie ever made.
Personally apologize to anybody who's seen Necromancer. Anyway,
But I've got nothing to
watch this film?
Yeah.
Are you guys ready to watch this movie? After watching the movie, we're going to have a Q&A back up here with these guys, so sit tight and enjoy this thing and love it as much as we do when we see after the movie.
The late John Harris. You guys don't want to applaud after that.
One of the things I want to say is in 1978, it's a little slow.
Talking to Mike.
Oh, talking to Mike, yes. Yeah, it's new technology. Oh, it's new technology. This is new stuff. Anyway, just watching it now, I just realized that, you know, everything now is, you never see scenes on the screen for longer than a second and a half, so it probably was a little slow. But 40 years old.
I don't know how many times we'll get the opportunity to tell you guys that you made something really unique and special, and you should be really proud of the work that you did in this movie. So it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. 40 years ago.
Most of you weren't born.
Yeah. You guys went around. 30 years before we made it.
I think one thing we got to get out of the way is you still have the umbrella rainbow hat. Is that in the same place? Okay.
Do you have one?
I wish I did.
You will.
You will.
How many people, aside from my friends, have not seen this movie before? Really?
Wow.
Okay. How did the Snuff movie affect you?
Creepy. Yeah, it is, right? It still is, and...
No, don't tell them.
Okay.
No, it was me. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So, how did you guys get together to make this movie?
Yeah. Let's see. John and I went to high school together, and we met Patsy Booba. We all were working at WQED, which is a public television station in Pittsburgh. We worked on things that are the antithesis of this for the Mr. Rogers show and things like that. Anyway, we just decided we wanted to work together. We made little films and industrial films in Pittsburgh and TV commercials and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we were lucky enough to run into George Romero, who we all know has recently passed. And I would just like to say, you know, thank you, George. He was a mentor to all of us. And how lucky we were to meet somebody who was so generous and so giving of his time and caring, and of course, besides that, a brilliant filmmaker, but he was always willing to help younger folks, and so thank you. But anyway, you know, we wanted to make a movie. So we got together and scrambled some money together, and we ran into Tom. I can't remember exactly how we ran into you, but we did.
Probably Martin and Don.
Yeah. And you know, it was Pittsburgh. It's a small community of people, and we all sort of knew each other or knew of each other. And as you said earlier, we put together $50,000 and begged, borrowed, and stole whatever we could, and we went out and made a movie. It is, you know, I think a lot of it is happenstance, and then the rest of it is just, man, I want to do this, and I'll do anything to get it done. So.
And what was the shooting? What was it like? You guys had living together?
We had a good friend who had the place up in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, and it was a summer home for his parents, and they let us shoot there. And so we moved up there because basically we didn't have any money. We didn't get paid. We paid him.
I made money.
$5,
Well, you didn't make
$6,
any money, but you got some, a few pieces of pig. And so we just moved up there and just all shot it, you know, because that's all we had.
So I really appreciated more than ever the dynamics between all of you on screen, because I liked how Joe Pilato is incredibly subdued and sensitive, because everyone knows him as Captain Rhodes at the end of the day.
Yeah,
He's raging. And you know, in this movie, he's so laid back, and you come in like a tornado every scene you're in and just like take over, and it's really great. And then, John, you're just so ice cold.
You're a scumbag.
Yeah, you really are. And for you guys, was that something you worked out beforehand? Because you really nailed the dynamics together. And I don't know if that was intentional or it was just kind of happened on set.
I think that's a tribute to Dust and his writing and the way he wanted the show to be. Because I would say, hey, you know, maybe I should be like really big here. And he'd say, no, John, just like be completely shark-sized, don't blink, you know, be completely cold. And I don't know what he said to you, but it worked because you were great.
Thanks. But Dusty, he wasn't just the director on this thing. There was a scene where after Joe is shot, he rolls down the hill. So I went in there to make the hill safe. I was trying to move rocks out of the way and twigs. And he combined said, no, just roll down the hill. And then he rolled down the hill, hitting rocks and trees and whatever. And he wound up, he did the stunt in the film.
We were a lot younger. And the thing is that we had that whole chase scene. We had a cinematographer, Carl Augustine, and he shot, you know, virtually all of it except...
Augustine?
Yeah, Augie. Except for the chase scene. And we just went out in one day, and that's why it's mostly handheld. I shot that, and because that was the only way to get it done.
Didn't you roll down the hill holding a camera?
I did, yeah. We had a Bolex. I think we had a Bolex that I don't know, God knows, it was never usable after that, but we did.
George may have loaned us that camera.
George may have loaned us that camera, and then we
never got it back.
Yeah, we apologized profusely, and that was that. But, you know, movies like that, I mean, you know, they're made because it really is, and to say this about a film like that, I mean, it's a labor of love. You get a whole bunch of folks together, and everybody wants to do a great job, and I say this all the time. People showed up every day, ready to work. Everybody knew their lines. We did it. We were never over time. We were never over budget or shot too much film. Or
we didn't have a budget to go over.
Yeah, literally. The film. It wasn't shot 1-to-1, but it was probably shot 4-to-1 or 5-to-1, if that, 3-to-1. But that's the only way you can get something like that done.
Joe Pilato was going to be here tonight, but he had an emergency.
Yeah, and
Pat Booba too.
Yeah, Patsy Booba also had a health issue, so sorry.
One of the great film editors in this genre, particularly, all the movies that you know from George, Creepshow, Monkey Shines.
He worked with Al Pacino.
Well, he did Al Pacino's movies, yeah. So he's really bummed, but he wanted to say hey to everybody that came out to see this tonight.
He said this is reinvigorating his DNA about effects and something that he had long forgotten. Sweet. Yeah. Now let's talk about that snuff film. I want to talk about that because I think everyone was probably affected by that. It's really alarming, and it takes you completely somewhere else in the movie, and you orchestrated that, correct?
Yeah, it was Dusty. There was a Swedish television production company that came to Pittsburgh to interview me about this film, and we watched it in my living room, and when the snuff film came on, they went outside. They thought it was real. They went outside to, smoke a cigarette and all that. I didn't tell them until the end of the movie that we actually created that movie. And one of the ingenious things in that was I bumped the camera. I mean, the whole camera crew was there, but because I bumped the camera and then eventually straightened it out, it made you feel like the girl and I were the only two people in the room. That was part of the effect of this. And the editing, cutting away to the people at crucial moments was very effective.
Especially Barney.
Yeah, Barney.
His look is like...
Yeah, the faces, the cutaway, those guys, all the actors did a great job in terms of the reactions, which made it easy for us, for cutting it, because...
I can still do that scene today, I think.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Jody?
My wife is sitting out there. That was my old nose, by the way. I had my nose straightened and fixed.
No, actually,
for Night Riders.
That was his young nose. Now he has his old nose.
my brand new nose.
Did anyone have reactions to the snuff film?
Yeah.
Tell them about Sweden.
Okay, so
we got a couple. Go ahead.
In the beginning, after we finished the film, we sent it around to some film festivals, and there were several that rejected it out of hand. And there were a couple, and I'll tell you a story about when it went to Sundance and George had to defend us. But it went to Sweden, in Gothenburg, Sweden, they screened it, and about, I don't know, a month or two later, we get this letter. Dear Mr. Harrison and Mr. Nelson, we showed your movie effects. It was very effective and people really liked it. However, during the snuff movie, we found a man in the front row masturbating during it. Does this often happen? Does this often happen? And I wanted to write this guy back and say, man, you Swedes are really fucking sick, man. I thought you guys were like peace and love and cool, you know.
It was accepted into the USA Film Festival, which is now the Sundance Festival. So it was, you know, it was before it became Sundance. But so we had it there, and then it didn't win. And
it was one of the 4 finalists.
Right, and George, really probably the reason it didn't win is that there was one of the judges who accosted me after it was shown in the local movie theater and came and just started screaming at me about the snuff film, and she would absolutely not believe, how could you do this? And she would absolutely not believe that it wasn't real. And, you know, how dare you put this on the screen and make me and everybody else watch it when this is a real thing? And I know that woman was killed, and, you know, there was really not, when somebody's saying that, there's nothing you can say.
Well, it's a good thing the snuff movie is black and white.
Yeah.
Because of that melted crayon, shitty blood
That you created.
This was the same blood I used in Dawn of the Dead, which is why in Dawn of the Dead, it looked great in the bottle. It was from the 3M company, Stage Blood, but it photographed like, you know, melted crayons. It was horrible. So yeah, it's a good thing it was black and white, yeah.
But the thing about that USA Festival, which was really cool, is that in the jury room, of which George was a part, they were all saying, well, this movie is trash, and so we can't vote for it because it's not really an independent movie like we think of an independent movie. And all the other movies were movies that had been supported by some arts council or PBS or something. And George, to his credit, got up and said, wait a minute, this is the true independent movie because these guys had nothing. And they raised the money on their own, and they basically went out and just did it by hook or by crook. And of course they said, yeah, that's great, George, sit down. And that was the end of that.
So what happened to the movie? You know, you made the movie and it kind of was lost for many, many years until the DVD came out in 2005 and right now. So what happened after you finished?
Well, we made a deal with a company in New York called International Harmony, and they agreed to pay, not us, but they agreed to pay for the 35 blow-up, which was a big deal because we shot it on 16. So we took that deal, they blew it up, made however many 35 prints, yeah, 5 or 6, and they started circulating them in some kind of distribution, but the distribution was really limited. In fact, I think it was limited to the Southwest, which is probably how you got a hold of the print, because it was left in some warehouse. Bad deal, but, you know, hey, how many times have you heard that story? So it kind of got lost, the rights got hung up, I kept trying to get them back, and then finally in around 2004 or 5, I met a guy by the name of Michael Felsher, and who has since become a good friend of all of ours, and he knew guys at Anchor Bay. They couldn't do it because they were getting bought by somebody, so they gave it to Synapse, said they would like to do it. So Dusty got together with them and took the 16 neg and made the transfer, and that was the first DVD release. So we finally got it back after 30 some odd years. And everybody had kind of heard about it, like, what is this movie from Pittsburgh that nobody knows about? And it was you guys, and George was your mentor and all this. And so finally it came out, and then that thing expired, and you found it. And the rest is what you see here.
Wouldn't it be cool if, we should have thought about this, we should have put squibs on me and Dusty and you, have somebody come down and blow us away, and then I could leave, and he stands up and smiles. Part two, yeah, right.
So I'd like to open it up, questions from you guys. And
yeah, what do you want to know?
Yeah, so we reserve the right to veto your questions. Just heads up if they're not good questions. So no questions if they can produce your script or tell you how to direct a movie, because they don't want to hear it.
Because we don't know.
So let's keep it on
We don't
track.
know.
Yeah, exactly. So keep it on track. Just want heads up. So questions from the audience, right here.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Mr. Savini, for keeping me awake for about a week when I was 12 and watched Day of the Dead for the first time. Also, I wanted to ask, when you get in the movie, there's these scenes where they're talking about how it's such a weird film set because they're all sleeping on the set and whatnot. Was that inserted as like sort of autobiographical about the movie you were making since you were all living in that area at the time?
I'm not sure that it was autobiographical because we wrote the script before we
Knew that you were going.
before we even knew that was going to be the location. So it was really just a notion of how you could make a really low budget horror film and get everybody together. Meaning, okay, we have a crew of 6 or 5.
Well, you're not going to put us in a hotel.
No, I
You know,
mean,
13 miles down the road or something.
it just was, yeah. So it probably was not autobiographical.
Yeah.
Is the simple answer.
Another question. Yes, right here.
I noticed in the film when the crew was kind of working the monitors and all that, it looked like the same location on the deck at the very beginning with the red carpet. I didn't know if that was the same studio.
You know, honestly, I don't think it was, because I think Dawn was shot at a local TV station. But a lot of those places back in the day had the same kind of decor, because it was all like kind of low budget and you had to carpet the walls to make it soundproof.
Would you call it TV?
This was a place called Television Production Center, TPC, in Pittsburgh, which was one of the first kind of video production houses in the country. Yeah, Belks, where are you?
Was Dawn of the Dead shot there, or was it just effects? Are you
He's
here?
asleep.
He's asleep.
Wake up, David. Tell him the movie's over and we're up here.
David Belko is here, and he was one of the control guys that was in the movie.
Yeah. And David and his wife.
David and
It's their
Stephanie are
anniversary, so congratulations.
Happy anniversary.
But I think in answer to your question, no, it wasn't exactly the same, but it's similar.
Another
But
question.
great observation.
Yeah. Another question. Right
Way
there.
up there, there's a question.
Tom, when you're designing an effect that is supposed to be in the real world and then is supposed to be taking place within the movie, within this movie, does your approach change at all? Do you say like this?
No,
needs
no
to-
difference. Same work. You know, it's the same job, you know. Make you believe that what you're seeing is real. You know, the fake leg, I think it was a real foot.
It was Debbie's leg.
Yeah.
You did a cast of Debbie's leg.
But so her real leg was the fake leg. But in close-up, you know, it's like a fake head. If you see a head in a movie a fake head in a movie longer than 3 seconds, you know it's fake. Arnold Schwarzenegger looking in the mirror in The Terminator, you knew that head was fake because you got to look at it long, you know. In Poltergeist, the guy in the mirror tearing his face apart, you knew that was fake because you got to look at it. The exception is Kevin Yeager's heads in the movie Sleepy Hollow. Those fake heads, you could look at them all day. They were wonderful, you know. But so for the close-up, we used Debbie's real foot because it was a close-up, you know, which we would have done, you know, in any film, and then pulled back to show the rubber leg, making you think the rubber leg was the real foot that you just saw, you know. So same work, same goal, yeah.
Got time for a couple more questions. Right there.
Mr. Harrison, I'm a huge fan of your soundtrack, so I'm just curious, is there any plans to re-release the soundtrack maybe on vinyl?
On vinyl, I don't know. Waxwork, you guys know Waxwork Records? They did Day and Creepshow and Dark Side, but not this one. But there are CDs of.
In front of you, some of you. So John was nice enough to bring some CDs, and some of you have them
But vinyl,
for free.
I wish.
Or he'll be happy to come to your house and play it.
I don't remember how to play the damn thing.
Another question?
Are we missing anybody in the back? No? No? Okay.
One more question.
Right
Right
here.
here.
Okay, so it's kind of weird, but did you all have a costume designer? Because some of the others is just like in the
They were what?
They were insanely good. At one point, you were wearing like camel pants and like a flannel shirt.
That's my own clothes.
Oh.
No, that's the thing. You're complimenting our taste in clothes. 'Cause
You like his robe?
my kimono,
He said he still
that
has.
was also my Simon game.
He says he still has the kimono.
I do, and I have the Simon game.
I still have the leather jacket.
That was my favorite question of the night. It was great. I really want to thank you guys in Austin for this film community, because like you guys are the reason why like all of this is happening, and like all this community support for like ACFA, for this movie. Like you guys are incredible for being here and taking.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
And hanging out with these guys the last days, these are the sweetest, nicest gentlemen. They're so great to hang out with.
It's a performance.
You don't know how much we paid him.
Wait till we bring you home tonight.
Yeah, right.
But thank you guys have been so great, and we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us, because it's such a special night. It means a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So we're going to exit now, so if you guys can remain seated so these guys can make their way out to the lobby, we'd appreciate it very much. We do have some Blu-rays for sale in the lobby. We have a couple left. If you'd like them, we'll be at the little counter there by the kiosk. So that's it. Thank you again, guys.
It's a full house. Thank you for staying.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the motion picture industry, welcome to the world of home video entertainment.